So here it is, space that I'm setting up to put a big metal building in. So here's what I've been working on for the last couple of weeks. This whole area was full of trees, and now I have cleared it out. I'm going to be putting a metal building in. I've never really done a metal building, and the whole process, I'm trying to figure out everything I'm going to need to do in order to be able to make this thing work. So I've priced out metal buildings. I still don't know who's going to do that, but I knew the first thing I needed to do was get a pad. I needed to clear an area where the building is going to be. The plan is to make it 30 by 60. Maybe with a little overhang, I don't know. It all depends on how much money I can scrape up. First step was clearing the property. I also had trees all around that were getting infested by these beetles, and they were starting to die, and they were leaning over the property, so I didn't want them falling. So I had to get the trees removed. So I killed two birds with one stone by hiring a guy with an excavator who could literally just push the trees over. And I'm talking big trees. You can see the stacks of them over there. Look at that. These, that's like 2 stories tall. One is oak trees and the other is pine trees. And that's a big old stack. Now I'm going to be hacking on the oak to use for firewood. I don't know what I'm going to do with the pine, but they're pushed back a little bit, and I'll deal with them later. So first things first is to get this all prepped. I still don't know what the orientation of the building exactly is going to be. Obviously I need to run electricity to it. There's a whole bunch of things I have to do, but I just don't know yet what I'm working with. So first things first, the weather got in the way and I was unable to completely finish it, and now I gotta hit the road again. So I'm going to come back to this in a little bit, and when the weather's a little bit drier and warmer, and then I'm going to prep for the cement, and I'll be sharing all the expenses and everything with that. This cost me, when it's all said and done, just the land grading is going to be about $6,600, and that I think is a pretty good deal considering we're messing with the trees, although they're just in a big pile there. They're not really cleared out, but I'm going to be taking on a lot of that work, and that's also where I was getting the logs I was doing for the mushrooms, the mushroom inoculation. So, just taking care of a few little things, and also dealing with firewood and stuff too. So right here I've got quite a bit of firewood from the recent thing, and then I've got even more elsewhere. There's my mushroom logs. I wet them all down, and I'm going to let them sit for about 6 months or a year. And then over here, there's more of the logs that I've cut. Plan is when this thing is done, I'll be able to walk out of my house, right down the steps around here, and I'll come up into a big old building that's going to be at least 60 feet wide and 16 feet tall. I know this is a really beautiful view out of my windows there that I'm going to be obscuring with this obnoxious building, but the building is pretty much hidden. It's behind the house. I've got views in the front that are pretty nice. So this is going to be forest green, and hopefully I imagine landscaping this whole area here so it's really pretty. Before I couldn't really go up and down this because that berm is pretty tall. This is about 4 feet lower than my ground level here, but we're going to smooth this out so there'll be a nice walkway here right up into the building. So the next step in the process after the land is cleared is to begin the grading process. And so the guys that came out that did this brought a few different pieces of equipment. You'll see there's a standard excavator on a track, and then there's also this little Kubota kind of track thing that can kind of push dirt around. And it's got an interesting piece of technology hooked onto it. You'll see in the distance there's like a tripod that has some kind of a laser guidance level thing on it. And then there are these big 2 posts that are sticking up on the top of that Kubota that apparently receive signals regarding the height and the grade. So you set some kind of a base position, and then you tell this thing, the computer in it, that from this location to this location or over a certain amount of feet, I want to create a grade of X degrees, or I want to have it drop a certain amount. So it's pretty neat because one of the things I wanted to do with the building was set it up for water, and I put plumbing in. I'm going to put plumbing in for a toilet and a sink, even though I don't have a septic, and I'm going to route that pipe out the rear side of where the building is going to be. And then I wanted to kind of basically make a little drain area, initially just using it for the sink, so the gray water from the sink could run down on the back side of the property. And this thing is really useful for being able to create, obviously, a perfectly flat surface that is level, but it can also create certain grades. So if you want to grade the land where it's at a certain incline for water runoff or drainage and stuff like that, you can do this. So in this picture, on the far end, I've got a little drainage canal being done, as well as this. And then they've got aggregate that they are adding on top of the clay. So this is clay. It can get really nasty and messy when it rains. So we're going to dump some gravel on top of that and then flatten it all down. And what you see here is just the process of getting all of that in place. So one of the things that I've been trying to do is get one of those metal storage sheds. So I've cleared off some land here to do that. Quite an expensive proposition. I'm just having to sell all kinds of stuff to raise up enough money. But I'm making progress. You can see I've cleared out some land, and now I've got it all set up for a slab. Hopefully I'll get a slab poured. Then it's going to be back to hustling, trying to make some money so I can put a metal building there. We'll see how it goes. All right, so things are all just buzzing around here as I'm working on setting up this pad. Got to visualize a big, beautiful metal building that's going to be put here that I'll be able to store all kinds of stuff in, since I'm moving things around. Turned into quite a project, and I'm just basically having to scrounge up as much money as I can by selling different things. But there's the foundation is all level. They got the cement guys in here with the rebar, and they're going to be setting up the frame for it. Working on a little driveway that's going to come up. Maybe some kind of a little loop here. We'll just have to see what happens. All right, so here is my project continuing. As you can see, big old swath of the forest has been cleared out and leveled, so I can put a slab in there for a building, for a big storage building. And see a nice little log cabin and a garage. But this building is going to be 30 by 60 by 16 feet. It's going to be big. It's going to be hidden behind everything back up here in the woods. Also be a nice little break from the woods in case there's any fires. Big metal building. And we'll see how it goes. Okay, so in the next episode, things are definitely going to get a little bit stickier as I run into one of my first major problems with the contractors that I've hired, and that is this cement. This cement situation kind of gets completely messed up. That would be an understatement. So stay tuned to the next episode, and you can learn from my mistakes, or maybe you can't. I don't even know if my mistakes were ultimately that avoidable given the circumstances that I was in. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be interesting. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and continuing to support my channel and my efforts here. It means a lot to me. If you'd like to find out more and want to contact me, you can go to wisdomstudios.com. That's my main website, and that'll have links to all of my other social media, Facebook groups, and other kinds of stuff like that. To find me on YouTube, it's going to be YouTube/wisdomstudio without an S, whereas the website is wisdomstudios.com. Until next time, thanks for watching, and thanks so much for your support. Be sure to subscribe.